This is the 2019 Suzuki Ertiga. This is the 2019 second generation Suzuki Ertiga. Is it better than its MPV brothers, the Toyota Rush and the Mitsubishi Xpander? Let's find out. The new Ertiga looks more aggressive than the previous model. The headlights are now more sharply angled. It is squintier looking, which seems to be the trend for cars nowadays. This unit on display is the Black Edition. The Black Edition has a black interior, and it's more expensive by almost 100,000. This particular unit looks more aggressive because it has a wraparound skirt on it. The taillights are reminiscent of the Xpander's taillights. While the new Ertiga looks more aggressive than the previous model, it is still a more conservative design compared to the competition. The Xpander looks like something out of a sci-fi movie, and the Rush almost looks like an SUV. Among the three MPVs, the Ertiga looks the most like a van. This one is the regular Ertiga GLX. It is the same as the Black Edition, except for the fact that it has a tan interior and it's cheaper by a significant margin. I'm not really sure why they're charging almost 100,000 for a black interior. This tan interior looks just fine to me. The interior of the Ertiga is where I believe it leaves the competition in the dust. The interior looks like it's from a more expensive vehicle, even though it's actually cheaper than the Rush and the Xpander. The glossy wood trim is a nice touch, but the show stealer is the huge 10-inch infotainment display with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. It has a backup camera. The guidelines are not active though. They don't turn with the steering wheel. Speaking of the steering wheel, it also looks and feels more expensive. The wheel on the Xpander and the Rush are bare plastic, and they're not padded. This one on the Ertiga has wood and chrome accents, and it is padded. There are also controls for the infotainment system on the wheel. The vehicle has a start-stop function, which the top-spec Rush and Xpander also have. The seats are fabric, but they look pretty nice. They have an interesting pattern on them. The armrests on the door sidings are also padded, which is always a plus. Sadly, there is no center armrest. It has a regular mechanical e-brake, which I actually prefer over an electronic parking brake. At the back it has blowers. They just blow air from the front to the back. They don't actually cool the air. Like the Xpander and the Rush, the third row is just for smaller adults and kids. Legroom is acceptable, but I cannot sit straight without my head hitting the roof. There are 2 cup holders here, one for each third row passenger. There are no dedicated aircon vents for the third row. The Ertiga is powered by a 1.5-liter gasoline engine that produces 103 horsepower and 138 Newton meters of torque. Like the Xpander and the Rush, it is also coupled to a 4-speed auto. The Ertiga has 2 airbags. This is one area where the Rush has an advantage because the Rush has 6 airbags. All vehicles have ABS and EBS though. The Ertiga is a domesticated family hauler, and it definitely felt out of place in this slalom course. There was a lot of body roll during tight turns, as expected. To be fair, it is a van, and both the Xpander and the Rush also have significant body roll. Doing a 25 kph turn at full lock, it feels like the vehicle is gonna topple over. The steering has a pretty good ratio though, and it's electric, so it's pretty light. In terms of power, I had 4 people on board, and I'd say the power was sufficient for daily city driving. It's just about as powerful as the Rush. The 4-speed automatic is definitely gonna hurt highway consumption, but again, it's the same for the Rush and the Xpander, which also have 4-speed autos. If you want an MPV with a proper transmission, I'd say go for the BRV. This top-of-the-line GLX model sells for just 978,000 pesos. Add 10k if you want the black edition. The top-of-the-line Rush sells for 1,090,000, and the top-of-the-line Xpander sells for 1,175,000. That's a pretty significant price difference. Aside from being the cheapest, the Ertiga also has the best interior and the best infotainment system. So if you're after value for money, the Ertiga should be a pretty attractive option.